Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio. Today we're joined by actor François Chau, talking all about his incredible career in TV, movies, voice roles for video games. We'll get into a lot of stuff, and we'll take your questions if you'd like to call in or text us. All that and more, stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors, 4 Hogwarts houses, 1 ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And for those of you driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight, hearing us on the Big 550 KTRS, welcome to you. If you are watching us on Instagram, or if you're watching this live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, thank you very much for tuning in there as well. And we've got a fantastic guest tonight. I met this gentleman at Pensacon. I flew to Pensacon to meet him, and I had a quick kick figure I wanted to get autographed, and luckily he was kind enough to actually join us on the show right now on the phone. François Chau, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well. I love that picture we took, because I asked, I said, hey, can we get a picture where you're just punching me across the face? And I showed that to my wife, and she bust out laughing. I've gotten so many compliments on that picture. And just the way, the angle it was taken, it really looks like you are socking me right in the jaw. So that was a great picture. I was looking at everything. It looks like actually the voice role of Quick Kick was your first role, really, as an actor. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was sort of my first, I would say, professional role. I had just moved to Los Angeles a few months earlier, and I was lucky enough to get a commercial agent, and they sent me out on this audition for this voiceover character, and I'd never done anything like that before. I went in there, and I guess ignorance is bliss, because I didn't know what I was doing. But maybe that's what got me the job. And then after I got the job, it was it was like, being thrown into the deep end of the pool, because it was just man, it was great. But it was working with all these other great voice actors who been doing it for years, and here I am, just kind of trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and there was a lot of great cast members on that, and I've made no secret that I'm a huge fan of voiceover actors, and from G.I. Joe alone, we've probably had, Joey, probably 6 different members of we had Michael Bell, who voiced
Right.
Duke. We had Arthur Berghart, who voiced Iceberg and Destro. Greg Berger, who voiced Spirit. And that's one of my favorite episodes, is the Excalibur, with you and Spirit are trying to get Excalibur away from Storm Shadow.
There you go, man. Now you're searching my memory here for.
But you're one of those actors. When I look at your resume, some people, they start out in voice and they stay with voice. Some people, they might do a voice project here or there. You've got a great mix of live action roles on fantastic shows and movies, and you still do the voice acting. Do you have one over the other that you prefer?
The voice acting is almost like I hate to say it, but it's kind of like a sideline for me. Most of my stuff is on camera. My first job was, but I don't, I'm not, I can't do a lot of different voices and stuff. And I just, all the jobs I've gotten is because, I don't know. I'm not sure why I got this, but most of my stuff has been on camera, a lot of TV, a bunch of movies, but I've been lucky enough throughout the years that I'm the guy, one of those guys where you're watching TV or you're watching a movie and you go, oh, there's that guy. I don't know what his name is. There he is. There's that guy. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, I know what that is. So, yeah, I've been lucky enough to do that.
And like I said, as I look over your resume, I mean, my goodness, the TV staples like Hill Street Blues, Hunter, Baywatch, MacGyver. You've been in both both MacGyvers, by the way. You were in the original MacGyver and the brand new one they just had out.
29 years apart.
That is so crazy.
The first role I did on MacGyver was in the original one.
Yeah.
And then 29 years later, I did another episode. So, yeah.
That would have been great if they could have somehow worked out that you're kind of like a distant relation of the same character from the first one or something like that. That would have been kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
So
I posted a picture saying, hey, what's the deal? MacGyver got younger, I got older.
You aged very well, though. I will say too, when I've gone back and looked at some of your earlier work to the stuff I've seen you in now, you've aged very gracefully.
Well, thank you.
And when you look at all the stuff you've done, all these TV and movie projects, with the level you've done, like I said, some of these are just fantastic shows, fantastic movies you've done. As an actor, when did you feel personally that you know what, I've arrived? This is I'm here now. This is your benchmark. When did you finally feel that personally as an actor?
I can't really speak for all actors, but I will. we never get to the point where we think, ooh, this is it. We've arrived. I would say even the most, I'll bet you the most A-list stars we're all very insecure. So we're always thinking, oh man, what's the next job going to be? What's going to happen after this job kind of thing. Obviously that's not, if you're Meryl Streep or Robert De Niro, that's not really a valid thing. But most of us actors were always kind of insecure about what's going to happen. So I don't know if anybody ever thinks that, well, we've arrived and now we can put our feet up and relax. We're always working for the next thing. So I don't think I don't know if I've arrived. I'm getting kind of old, so I better get there soon.
Well, like I said, looking at your IMDb page is very impressive. I mean, you've got a lot to be proud of with all the projects and the roles you've gotten and things like that. I noticed that I saw another interview with you where you said you started acting, because if I'm not mistaken, I got this right, you went to an all-boys high school and you started acting as a way to meet girls, which kudos to you. That's a great reason to get involved in it.
I can't think of a better one, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That it was, you gotta figure some way to,
right,
to do it. So that was my way.
And so you just fell in love with it at that point on, because there was no turning back, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty much. Let me see if I can think back. I started probably like around maybe sophomore year in high school. I thought, I'll go to these schools and audition for plays, and maybe I'll get lucky and I can go and hang out and make some new friends and meet some girls. And I started doing it, and I thought, wow, this is pretty fun. This is great. I was at a prep school. I was like an A student all the way up until about I would say, I guess, senior year, where I started doing more and more of these shows. And, up to then, all these colleges were sending me letters saying, hey, apply here, because your grade point average is great. You got great SATs, blah, blah, blah. By senior year, though, I didn't get too many more of those letters because I was doing shows. I don't think I could do anything else.
It sounds like you just had a bad case of senioritis, and I think that happens to all high school seniors, regardless of what they're doing in school.
Okay, I'll go with that.
But no, obviously, I mean, that's great. So when you started out, you're in high school and you're doing these. Did you think to yourself, I want to do stage plays, because that's what the majority of stuff you're doing, or did it kind of cross your mind like, what, I could probably do this for TV and movies? Kind of, where was your mindset after you got out of high school?
I got out of high school. I typically at that point in time, of course, my parents were not really enthused about my choice of going into acting. So, to make them happy, I started out as a business administration major in college, and I would say about 2 weeks into that, I thought, wow. This is insane. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm doing. So that's when I switched, and I thought, I gotta give the other thing a shot. And in terms of doing, when I started, I did a lot of theater, and of course in college I did a lot of theater, and then when I graduated, I still did a lot of theater, but I really wanted to do film and TV. I love TV. I love films. I probably watch more films than most people. Films from classic films from the 30s through now. And TV, man. When I moved to the States I think it was 1967 when I was a kid, man. All I wanted to do was watch TV. I watched all these shows like Star Trek, Batman, stuff like that. Probably nobody ever remembers now, but that was my whole thing. So I moved out to Los Angeles specifically because I wanted to try to get into TV and films. I knew pretty much that I couldn't really make a living in theater because you really have to be like a triple threat. You have to be a great dancer, great singer, great actor. Yeah. I can hold my own. I can hold a tune, but and then I can do some dance moves, but nothing that would get me to what I wanted to do. So film and TV was what I tried.
That way, if you need dancing, you can always have the stunt double do your dancing for you, and then you can do the close-up shots and things like that. Yeah, no, I always see the stunt double doing it, and I go, that's not the guy. That's not him doing it. That's not her doing it. Come on. But I love that you're a film buff to begin with. So I'll ask you, during the pandemic, we're all locked down. Obviously, that's what everyone was doing, was watching shows and movies. Are you someone who will go back and rewatch stuff that you've seen 100 times, or were you finding new things to watch during the pandemic? Well, we are so it's amazing the amount of programming that is available. Yeah. With all the streaming and everything, it's like there's so much stuff you can't. If I sat here and watched TV 24 hours a day for the next, 3 months or something, I still wouldn't be able to get through all the stuff I want to get through. Right. But I watch a lot of new stuff. There's certain movies I love that, it's weird. Every time it comes on, although I've seen it, a gazillion times, I always go, oh, what's this? I love Westerns. So like every time I see, like Shane, I'm going, oh, even though I've 1,000 times, it goes, oh, okay, I'm going to watch it some more, like Shane. And there's a couple other movies where, when I flip the channels, for some reason, what's the movie? I always that's Love Actually. Oh yeah, that's one of my Christmas movies. I put that on every Christmas. Yeah. It's like I don't know why, but it's like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna watch it again. Yeah, there are movies that's just the way. Like my wife will make fun of me because we'll be flipping channels and I'll come in the middle of like Mrs. Doubtfire, which I've seen 30 times. I'm like, oh, right, why are you stopping to watch this in the middle? You've seen this, you own the DVD, but there are those movies that just kind of draw us in. Yeah. Exactly. So is there, you mentioned Westerns are one of your favorite. Is there a genre or a type of movie or a TV series that you've always wanted to kind of get into that you haven't done yet? Not. I don't know. I mean, I'd say I love Westerns. Some of them I find that I can watch, like Gunsmoke and all these other things from the 60s and so forth. And, it's like I love them and I watch them now and I go and it's like cringe, right? Because, certain ones.
before when I was a kid, I would watch them. I thought, oh, this is great. The cowboys are fighting the Indians and, the whatever. Now I watch it. It's all like, oh, get that, half-breed Indian guy. And they're all, it's so racist. I can't watch them anymore without going, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, some of that stuff it's a product of the time, and that's why I think I think like even Disney and like AMC, the movie channel, are throwing disclaimers up to let people know, hey,
right.
we're not showing you this because we condone this. This is what it was like,
right.
and I think people just have to kind of, if they engage in that context, I think it, hopefully people can accept him like, okay, well, that's just the way it was. Much like books were written, books were written differently.
It's hard for me being an Asian American actor, and I watch these old shows, and I see some of the most of the characters being played by Asian Americans are pretty stereotypical bad two-dimensional stuff, and it's like, okay, that's the product of the time and all that stuff, but it still makes me kind of cringe when I see especially when an Asian part is being played by a white actor or something, and you go, wow, I was a kid, this is great, but now I'm watching it and I'm going, oh man.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney in Breakfast and Tiffany's springs to mind.
Yeah. When I first watched it, I love Breakfast at Tiffany. That was a great movie. When I first saw it, I didn't think anything. Now I watch it and I really can't, I can't get past those scenes, right? Your memory of the way how great it was. But now it's almost like, oh, you open your eyes and you go, oh, I guess I didn't really know what I was doing. But like I say, what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. Right?
Yeah, very, very true. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You're okay? Are you okay to stick with us for a little while longer?
I'm good.
Perfect. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We're going to come right back, continue our chat with François Chau. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free to call us. The listener lines are 314-931-5877, or you can text your question to us at 84126. We'll be right back talking more with François Chau on Geek to Me Radio. Please stand by.
Attention maggots, this is Sergeant Slaughter from WWE and G.I. Joe, the real American hero, and you're listening to Geek to Me. Don't touch that dial, and that's an order.
We are back. We're back. I put the wrong microphone up. We are back on Geek to Me Radio. I want to make sure we tell you about our official movie sponsor, Marcus Theaters. That's Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern. Chances are you probably got one of those close to you in your area. You can find out by going to marcustheaters.com and check the website, find the location closest to you. You can get your tickets right there online, see what movies are playing. Black Widow is out in theaters. This was a long time coming. I feel like it was forever. It was a great movie, and I was telling people when I did my review, it knocked Ant-Man out of my top 5 favorite Marvel movies. It's really good, action-packed, spy espionage, kind of a Captain America Winter Soldier feel to it. So if you're a Marvel fan, it's a great time to get out and see movies. And you know my opinion, it's never a bad time to go see movies. Marcus Theaters, you can download the app for your smartphone or device. You can, that way, if you're out driving around, say, hey, let's find a movie. Find the location closest to you while you're driving. Buy your tickets and your concessions through the app. The concessions will be ready and waiting for you if you want a more contactless experience. And people are still nervous about COVID. I get it. You might want to go ahead and look at getting a private theater. Marcus Theaters does private rentals of movie theaters for you and 20 friends starting at $99. You can see Black Widow with your closest buds or some family members. That's a great way to experience movie in the greatest possible surroundings. MarcusTheaters.com is the website. You can check them out, find the location closest to you, get your tickets. A great time at the movies. We always say it's the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. My guest this hour is François Chau. We were just talking about movies. Raya and the Last Dragon was recently out, and that was another voice role for you, François. How do you find doing that?
That was fun. My little cameo. It's weird. I mean, I have that one line, and people were calling me afterwards. Hey, I was watching. All of a sudden, I heard your voice, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh really? I mean, people tell me. I have like a very distinct voice. I go, wow, really? I thought I sound kind of like everybody else. And they said, no. I know it's you. As soon as I hear it, I go, okay.
That's a compliment,
no,
obviously.
It was great.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
No, I said that's a compliment, obviously. If you've got a very distinctive voice, that's great.
Oh, yeah. No, it's I'll take it.
And one of the movies I wanted to talk to you about was Lethal Weapon 4. We recently lost the great Richard Donner. And obviously, he directed that film. You got to work with him on that. If you don't mind, talk a little bit about your experience filming Lethal Weapon 4 and your experience working under Richard Donner.
It was, man, now, again, we're going way back here. I didn't get a chance. I mean, obviously, I was not one of the main characters.
Right.
So we worked with him we did a couple of scenes. And he was great. He was, very, very professional, very nice. I think obviously he was more worried about working with, the other actors. As long as we didn't do anything to screw it up, I think it was fine with him. So, there was, that was a great movie for Asian American stuntmen. I think every Asian American stunt guy got to work on that movie at one point or another. So it was good, and I loved his movies. The Christopher Reeve Superman was like one of my favorite when I was a kid.
Yeah, and the Lethal Weapon movies were huge for me. And I was going through his stuff, and I said, man, the episodes of Twilight Zone that he directed are some of my favorite episodes. And a lot of people, he doesn't ever get. It seems like people know him for it's Superman or it's Lethal Weapon.
Right.
And he never gets credit for the Twilight Zone episodes. I think he directed like 4 or 5 of them. They're brilliant.
Yeah. Now I was listening to your thing of speaking of Black Widow. Great movie. Again, it was. Winter Soldier was sort of my favorite Captain America movie, and I kept going, they need a Black Widow movie. Yeah. And I thought, wow, they did a great job. It was really one of the better MCU movies out there.
I agree. No, I think it was a great, just the way it kind of cradled within that timeline, so you could literally watch Captain America Civil War, watch Black Widow, and then pick up right with Infinity War and Avengers Infinity War, and it was seamless transition.
Yeah. And it worked because I kept thinking, well, how's it going to work? Because we know what happens to her, but I have to admit I got pretty teary eyed at the end, the last in the end credit scene there, man.
Yeah, it was well done. I think the whole thing. So I feel like I've also read or heard in another interview with you that you're a comic book guy. You collect comic books. You enjoy comic books and kind of keep up with them. Is that still true?
I used to. I wouldn't say I was a collector. I just loved reading comic books when I was a kid. Either both DC and Marvel. Spider-Man was one of my favorites. Daredevil was really another favorite, especially the Frank Miller ones that came out later.
Oh,
and
yeah,
of course,
in the 70s. Those were great.
Yeah. And, of course, when he came out with Dark Knight and all those other stuff. And then some of the stuff, like, I really liked that came out later, like Watchmen, kind of think of other stuff. But, I didn't really collect them as a like, I'm going to keep this and, hopefully it becomes valuable and stuff. I just like I bought them and then I read them.
Yeah. And
that was pretty much it.
The way they're intended to be used. You're supposed to buy them and read them. A lot of people, that's kind of ruining the market now, but we could do a whole other show on that for another time about how speculators are kind of ruining the comic book collecting thing, but we won't go off on a tangent. So do you still have any of your old Daredevil or Batman comics or anything?
I think I have some Daredevil stuff, but not really. I mean, I'd have to go look for them, And like I say, I don't keep them in the plastic sleeve, and so they get all they stay good. I think they're in pretty bad shape if I can find them.
Well, as long as they're well loved, and that's the important thing. Is they're well loved and they're read.
Yeah.
And I know, speaking of DC Comics, you had an appearance in the John Wesley Shipp 1990s Flash. You were on that as a TV episode, and you were in the recent Birds of Prey. So you're kind of in the DC universe now.
I am. Too bad I got killed in both of them, but but still.
but you were there, and then obviously The Tick. Speaking of comic books, that had to be so much fun because that was just such a vivacious show. That Amazon series, The Tick.
I have to tell you, the Tick, the animated show in the '90s was one of my all-time favorites.
Having watched The Tick and loved that animated series, it must have been a thrill to be cast as Walter in this new series.
Oh, I mean, I tell everyone I see, I've waited, 40 years for Walter to come along. That is truly my favorite character I've ever played, and I for some reason I always get cast as the bad guy. You watch all these TV shows and you'll see me in there, hey, the drug lord or whatever, go, kill MacGyver, kill Magnum, kill, wherever else it's there. But Walter was just, it was like, there was no effort. It was just like putting on, a glove that just fit perfectly. And it was a joy to do. And it was just, I can't describe how it was to work on that show. And the creator and the writer of that show, Ben Edlund, man, that guy can come up with stuff that is so clever and funny that you think, oh, my God, if I could just think of 1/10 of what he thought up of stuff to say and do, I'd be like a genius.
So, but that show that you've described working on it so fondly, was it just because you were a fan? Was it the writing that you said with the just seamless writing for the character, or was it kind of a little bit of both? Because obviously, as an actor, some roles are going to be easier than others, but it sounds like this was just a dream.
It was a dream. It was the writing. It was the role. It literally, I hear this a lot. Actors always tell me, not just actors, but everybody says, it must be so fun to play the bad guy and to get to do all this stuff and this and that. And I always think, wow, man, it's not that much fun when your character is going around killing people and doing all these
right.
actions, and you're doing it and you're thinking, and I always think, wow, is this fun for people to do this? I mean, if they could do this in real life for fun, would they do this? I don't think so, right?
We'd probably be surprised, but you never know.
I guess so. I don't know. But the character Walter in The Tick is like a good guy, and it's just you go, oh man, when you go home at the end of the day, you kind of feel pretty good that that you've inhabited this character.
Is there one villainous role like you can think of from either a movie or TV show that like kind of made you the most uncomfortable? Like you had to go home from the set and just shower? Has there been one character like that in one of these roles, or is it all just kind of like I'm playing the bad guy, this is the part, this is the job, and let's just get through it? On
stage, I played a mass murderer. I went home at night. It was not like the best thing in the world.
Yeah. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and you're okay to stick with us through this next one as well, yes?
Yes, I'm good.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll take another quick commercial break then, and we'll be right back. We'll chat a little bit more with François Chau. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, you can feel free to text us at 84126, or you can also call in 314-931-5877. We'll be right back after this. Please stand by.
Hi, this is Dean Devlin, director of Bad Samaritan, and you are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. Dean Devlin will hopefully be joining us next week on the show. We'll be talking, because it's 25 years since Independence Day came out in theaters, so we'll be talking to him about the 25th anniversary of Independence Day. We'll also be chatting with him about his brand new series, Leverage Redemption, which is out on Amazon Prime and IMDb TV. For those of you who were Leverage fans, the Redemption series is now out with the original cast. Fantastic. Watch the first couple episodes, and it's great. So we'll have Dean Devlin on next week talking all about that. I want to make sure we mention our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. If you have been cooped up, you're looking to get out of the house, St. Charles has a lot going on. They just celebrated their anniversary. They're having a big anniversary thing to commemorate the Lewis and Clark Landing and the historic first Capitol that's there. If you want to get out, you can bike ride the Katy Trail, get outdoors in Frontier Park, and just kind of enjoy the sunshine. Hopefully, if the rain quits, you can get out and enjoy the sunshine. But there's a lot to do, a lot to see in St. Charles, from fantastic food to unique shopping experiences up and down the cobblestone streets. If you're a history buff, just go look at all the plaques up there. There's the first state capitol. It's a great place to visit. And if you're from out of state, maybe you're streaming us online on the YouTube and the Facebook, or you're streaming us on Instagram right now. If you're wanting to plan a trip someplace you haven't gone before, come stay in the City of St. Charles, any place from a little bed and breakfast to a hotel with world-class accommodations right there in our backyard. We'd love to see you in St. Charles. And if you're in the greater St. Louis area and haven't made the trip, what are you waiting for? Get over there and have cocktails at the Tompkin House, get a little barbecue from Salt and Smoke, and then finish it off with a gooey butter milkshake down the street at the Sweet Shop. Lot to do. You can do it all from the website to plan your trip. DiscoverStCharles.com. That's DiscoverStCharles.com. They've been with us since the beginning, and we always say St. Charles, it's for an historically good time. We're chatting with François Chau this hour all about his career in TV and film and video game work. We've got to ask you, you talked about playing the bad guy, François. I don't think it gets any bigger or badder than Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. That has to be the pinnacle of villain right there.
Yeah, I guess so. It's amazing to me, the staying power of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have middle-aged guys come up to me a lot saying, "Oh my God, I loved you. You were a Shredder when I was a kid. You were my childhood." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much. Now I feel like really old." But yeah, I guess you can't get any more villainous than Shredder.
When I met you at Pensacon, obviously I was waiting there in line for you to show up. I had the Quick Kick G.I. Joe action figure, but there were plenty of people who were talking about, oh, it's Shredder. So is that the thing you find you have the most notoriety for, is Shredder and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
The two big ones are Shredder and still from the TV show Lost.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then of course G.I. Joe is in there, and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of The Expanse. This is a sci-fi show I did. It got pretty popular. There's a big, very hardcore group of fans, and once in a while, The Tick.
Yeah. That Amazon series, The Tick, is begging for its own line of action figures. I'm hoping we get the full run.
Yeah.
And with the talking about your voice, how everyone's just said it's very distinctive. You've done a lot of video games: Wing Commander 3, Star Lancer, XCOM 2, and another one in the XCOM series, if I'm not mistaken. When you come in for the voice roles, do you get hired based because you've got the perfect voice, or do they want you to do any affectation at all, or how do you find the video game voice work from doing the animated series voice works?
The video game stuff is, and actually all the voice stuff that I do, except for, I would say, the Quick Kick character G.I. Joe, the shtick with that was I was supposed to do really bad, impressions of stars, which was good because but everything else is not so much. Can you do this voice, or can you make this guy this way? It's pretty much just me. I go in, I audition, and then I guess they like the voice my usual voice, and that's pretty much all I have is the video games. They're all There's nothing where I put on a different voice, and man, some of the stuff goes back. XCOM, I think I did a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And even Star Lancer, some of the first stuff was just, now the technology now is so far advanced that you just go, wow. I think Star Lancer, even for the voice, I don't know if they filmed. There was something else I did where I just kind of stood there and I said the line, and then I kind of turned and I said the line again, and that was pretty much it. And now it's basically you're shooting a movie.
Yeah.
Actually, when we did Wing Commander, and this was like 94, I think, that was really the cutscenes in between the playing were just like shooting a movie. I mean, the sets were all real sets. There was really no green screen, none of that stuff. I mean, everything was real. So that was a lot of fun.
And again, looking at the TV stuff you've done, all the different like staples. One of the ones that ER has just spawned so many people. Like we've seen people who are in like parts on that now who are going on to do other stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, ER. So it's almost like one of those. You could do like a 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You could almost do 5 degrees of ER.
Right.
But that's one of those shows, those medical shows, and you've done it on Grey's Anatomy and things like that, where these medical shows seem like they'd be the most complex to work on, because I'm sure not only do you have to know lines, but there's medical jargon you have to throw in there and things like that. So I would imagine the medical shows are some of the tougher ones to work on.
Yeah, well, if you're playing a doctor, they are. Yeah. If you're the sick guy in bed, it's okay. It's easy.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah. The ER stuff, I did I must have like 3 or 4 of them, where I think I was the neurosurgeon, and I would just, run down and, say stuff like, okay, I need a CAT scan and take them to blah, 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 whatever. So it was, you kind of get used to it. But yeah, the medical jargon is tough to do. And, TV they don't have much time, so they're not going to spend a lot of time making sure if you don't do it right, boy, they can find somebody else right away. Right.
And it just, I think about too, all the different fandoms you're involved in. We mentioned G.I. Joe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are huge, but obviously Stargate, Lost, The Expanse, all these, they have these dedicated fandoms. And then I think about, is there any kind of, like, when you go to the conventions, you see all the other people from this series or that series. Is there a particular fandom, be it Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel, that you would love to get involved in? That's like you kind of like on your bucket list to work on a project with that umbrella?
Well, I am a huge Star Trek fan.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting for my shot on a Star Trek show. So anybody listening out there, producers of Star Trek, I'm here. Star Trek would be a great thing. Another show I really loved, and then I finally got a chance to do an episode, was X-Files.
That's right, yeah, because that was when the reunion came back.
Right. The new X-Files. And I'm a huge. I have to confess, I'm a huge Gillian Anderson fan. Have a huge crush on her for years now. Yeah. And I got to do X-Files, and my scenes were with her, and I was like, ooh, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh man, I hope I don't screw up.
Does that happen very often? Because you're a seasoned veteran. You've been in all these projects. I mean, like TV shows like Alias, where you're working, opposite Jennifer Garner and things like that. We mentioned Lethal Weapon. Do you still get nervous on certain projects when you're working with somebody like that?
It depends on who it is. For the most part, no. I mean, I think I tend to be pretty professional once I get on set. That this is my job. This is what this is what they hired me to do. So I kind of concentrate on that. But yeah, once in a while, when I get a little starstruck with certain people that I'm a big fan of for years. And but it's like I said, I think the only person I really kind of got nervous with was Gillian Anderson from X-Files.
And talking about the TV, some of the other great shows you've worked on, Chuck was one of my all-time favorite series. Yeah. You got to be on Castle. opposite Nathan
Yeah.
Fillion. And then one show that I was so upset that it got canceled in its first season was Awake with Jason Isaacs. Because that show was brilliant. I love that show.
Yeah, it was a great show. It was a good concept. I was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah, that was great to work on too. I mean, they're all, all these episodics. They're just. I've been really, really lucky to get to work on so many of them, and I really have not ever in my almost 40 years doing this have ever had a bad experience on any show that's kind of left me, going, oh man, this is really, whatever. Everybody, everywhere, everything I've worked has been just great. And I have a feeling that I've been pretty lucky because I've heard stories.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a couple people on the show who have said that they've given us some stories that kind of make you wonder, because obviously for every great story, there's obviously someone out there who's had a bad experience on it. But that's
right.
Very good that you have not, though. So that's good to hear.
Right. Yeah. Well, I got my fingers crossed because now that I said it, man, I don't know. Next show could be the one.
Yeah. Well, I hope we didn't jinx you. That I'd feel horrible now.
Yeah. Exactly.
And speaking of projects, do you have anything else you're working on, or anything else you're kind of like, maybe you can't talk about them if they have NDAs or anything, but is there anything coming up that we can watch for you or listen for your voice in?
I've done, let's see, actually, this whole last year and a half when COVID started, I pretty much, when it started, I thought, you know what, it's my vacation time, because I pretty much wrote off the year. But it turned out that there was more work than I thought it was going to be. So I did another video game, which is, I don't know when it's coming out, and I signed a whole bunch of NDAs, but that was a lot of fun. That was the first time I did the mocap.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
You put on that skin tight suit with and then they put all those little furry balls on you and stuff. And,
all the dots, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I did, and then before that, I did the game that's out now on PS5 or 4 called Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's really popular. I'm still trying to get a PS5.
You and everybody else, I know.
Yeah, what's the deal? I haven't played the game because I don't have a machine yet.
I would think if you did the game for them, you could always phone them up and be like, hey, I got to play the game. Can you please hook me up? You would think Sony would help you out. You
would think, right? But no. And I've done some voiceover work. I've done more audiobooks.
Oh, cool!
Narrating audiobooks. Yeah, and there's a couple of things, projects. I think I can say the last job was last month. I was in Puerto Rico shooting an episode of Fantasy Island.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the reboot, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
This is, I think, like the third time they're bringing it back. But that was a lot of fun. And the character I played, I actually it was pretty. It was interesting. It wasn't schmaltzy or anything, but I really enjoyed it. So I don't know when that's coming out, but look for it.
Absolutely. Something else to keep an eye out.
Yeah.
And since I hate that this hour goes by so quick, I wish I could keep talking to you. We'll have to have you back on if you're amenable to that idea. But before we
anytime.
Before we hit the top of the hour, tell everybody social media handles, websites, where they can find you and keep up with you.
I'm not a big social media guy. I'm on Facebook. I think you can find me there. And I'm on Twitter. I think I'm at François Chau. It's pretty basic. That's about it. Everybody's telling me I got to get on it, but I have a very hard time unless there's some project that I do that I want to promote or something. Otherwise, I have a very hard time staying on top of things. By I don't really like to go on Twitter and say, hey, I'm having a great cup of coffee right now. And,
right. Instagram your meal and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I see people do it, and I go, wow, I wish I had that whatever, but I guess I don't have that.
Right.
That note in me.
That's nothing wrong with that. This has been absolutely brilliant. We'll definitely have to have you back on again. François Chau, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, James. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And
All right.
we're going to be back next week with Dean Devlin and Mitch Halleck talking about Terrificon. So until next week.
This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, G.I. Joe headquarters. Good night.
Hey kids, are your parents about to buy you a shiny new toy from Amazon?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Well, don't be selfish. Share some of that money with us. Before going on Amazon, make sure to type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser. It will look just like Amazon.com, except it'll say referral Geek to Me Radio up top. And then when you check out, a tiny percentage will go to support the show without costing you 1 cent more. So before your parents get you that gizmo, gadget, or widget, make sure they type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser.
bit.ly/geek2me. bit.ly/geek2me.